Hey guys, Polar Pro Scale Models, welcome to another video build. Today we're starting Alpha Models 124 Porsche 911. Let's do that again. Hey everyone, Polar Pro Scale Models, welcome to another video build. Today we're going to be starting Alpha Models 124 Porsche 911 992 GT3 RS. Crap. It'll make good outtakes for the beginning of the video, won't it, I suppose? Hey everyone, Polar Pro Scale Models, welcome to another video build. Today we're going to be starting Alpha Models 124 Porsche 911 992 GT3 RS. So yes, now you may remember a while back I built that one right there, which is the white and green PZY Kitbox GT3 RS. We built it on the channel a while back. Alpha Model very kindly sent me theirs, which, spoiler alert, is right there. And I've been interested since that day to compare them both and see which one is better. Now, back in the day, I said I reckoned that the Kitbox one was going to be the better kit, and that was off the back of the F80 BMW, which still to this day is the best multimedia kit I've built by far. It's right there in my display case. It's a purple one, if you remember. Brilliant kit. Sadly out of production. I hope they remake it one day because it's a superb kit. So I pinned the PZY kit being better than this one. So we're going to have a look through the box very quick at the beginning, and we're going to crack on with the build, and I'll share my thoughts at the end of the build series. So there we go. Don't forget, as always, there's a Patreon on the channel. You can get early access on all the videos, 10% off Pro Scale Paint, there's a weekly bench update, Facebook supported chat group, loads of perks which are all up on screen here. And yeah, let's crack on with the build. Right then, so we have our kit. We have our Porsche 911 GT3 RS. We have our Ruby Stein Ruben Ruby Star Red from Pro Scale Paints. And as you can see, it's a very, very striking colour. This is going to look absolutely beautiful on this car. Now, I built a version of this kit before from Kitbox. It had several flaws with it. I'm not going to lie, as I never do in videos and reviews. And I've been looking forward to building this one for some time. We've got two sets of wheels, as with the other kit, just to compare and see which is the better kit. Now, they both build up very similarly. We've got absolutely beautiful resin, as always, from Alpha Models. Flawless, absolutely flawless, beautiful. Cockpit tub, floor pan. So it's pretty much the same layout as the PZY kit. So it's going to build up really similarly. Loads of resin, two sets of wheels, all off photo etch, clear parts, etc, etc. Really nice decal sheet with some carbon bits, loads of different colours for the side stripes and spoiler stripes, and of course the interior stitching as well. There are vague, as normal instructions from Alpha Models. They're just a vague guide on how to do it. As you can see, I've gone through and marked off all the parts to make sure nothing's missing out the box. So, like I say, we built the PZY one a while back. I did it in white. It did have a few flaws on the kit. It built up okay generally. But as I said, I've been interested to see which is going to be the better kit. So, we're going to find out. And I'm going to give my honest opinion, as always. So, we're going to start by lightly rescribing the body. And I'll be very careful here. Resin's very easily damaged. One slip with your scriber will create a myriad of problems. So be as clean and neat as you possibly can here. We're not trying to rescribe the panel lines. I'm clearing the panel lines out of anything that may be in there. You might get the odd piece of resin or a little bit of a flaw, but I'm just cleaning it out. So no real pressure on there. Just letting the scribing tool scroll through. This is a Holley scriber. Sadly, you can't really get them anymore. And this is a Hasegawa scriber as well, which is perfect for doing corners. So as you can see here, right on this corner piece, I'm just using it to do around the very edges, and it's ideal for like fuel filler caps and things like that. So like I say, just take your time here, nice and slow. Once we've rescribed it, we get an old toothbrush and just clean out all the panel lines and all the recessed areas of any dust or debris that may be left in there from the manufacturing process or us rescribing. But like I say, this resin, absolutely beautiful, flawless resin. It always is from Alpha Models on the newer kits. And yeah, it is a testament to just the quality of the kit. So once we're happy there, we're going to go through and we're going to scuff it all up. So I've got a 2000 grit Tamiya sponge sander here. I've sped some of this footage up because you've seen me do this a million times, but we're just going to go around and key all the surface. And as usual, this is for two reasons. It will remove any surface imperfections, which to be honest, there are none of on this kit anyway. And it will key the surface for our primer, so it'll put thousands of micro abrasions in the surface, and it will allow us our primer to adhere better. That's the theory behind it. Real full-size body shops use this theory, so I'm going with it too. Again, once we've gone round and scuffed it all up, we're going to go around with our toothbrush and again clear all the panel lines of any muck or dust that might be in there. So this is the preparation now. Preparation is key. As always, the better you prepare it now, the better finish you're going to get at the end. So with the body all prepped, we're going to mount it now on the painted Birtland Alpha Models paint holder, which is basically an old bottle, some tongue depressors and some 3M sticky bag pads. Crude, but very simple, works well. The bottle has water in it as well, so it's bottom heavy. The 3M pads are unbelievably sticky, so they're really good. Now, another important stage, degreasing the body. So we've been handling this with our fingerprints. There might be mold release from the molding casting process as well. So we're going to use our Pro Scale Paints alcohol-based degreaser. So we're going to pop a little bit in the cap of the bottle. I'm going to use our toothbrush, and I'm going to go around every inch of this body and clean everything up. And what we're going to get off here, like I say, is fingerprints. Fingerprints are some of the most contaminative, is that even a word? Contaminative parts you can put on a model. The oil and debris from, I don't know, whatever you've been doing throughout the day. You might have been yodeling, milking goats, you know, servicing church organs, eating crisps, whatever, chips, whatever you've been doing. And any of that residue left behind, any oil or grease, is definitely not something we want on the surface of our model. So this will thoroughly degrease every square inch. And obviously, because it is resin, poured resin, there will be a release agent on there somewhere. It is prominent on some of the kits I've felt it before. So I go around with a toothbrush and all the nooks and crannies and get a nice clean piece of kitchen roll and wipe it all dry. Now this will evaporate, but it's better to get off any excess while you can. So again, another very important step. Definitely one I wouldn't skimp. If I've ever had adhesion problems with any primer, not just Pro Scale primer, any primer, it's usually always been on resin. It's just quite a tricky surface to get paint to adhere to. So by keying it, by cleaning it up, by degreasing it, we're giving the paint the best chance. And doing this, I never have any issues at all. So it takes, what, 5 minutes to do this? A little bit of extra time. And like I say, preparation is everything on this. The better you prepare this body, from preparing, rescribing, keying, degreasing, priming, painting, it will all lead to a much better paint job at the end. And also don't forget all the other parts as well, like wing mirrors, spoilers, etc. In the spray booth, we've got our Pro Scale Paints white primer at the ready. We've got our Tamiya anti-static brush there. We've gone over the model and give it a quick wipe over. The booth's on, I've got gloves on, I've got a respirator on. We've got our Iwata CR3 Revolution at about 18 psi. I'm going to go around and apply a nice light coat of primer to begin with. Not hosing it on, just getting all the little nooks and crannies. This will dry really quick. Our primer does dry super fast. And by the time you go around the whole car and you come back, you'll be able to put another coat of paint on. So I wouldn't recommend spraying like I am. I'm doing this because I do this day in, day out. I would concentrate on going just side to side, coming on and off the air at the end of each pass. Obviously, when you start doing things like this for a living and doing it every day, you do get a bit lackadaisical. But to get the best finish, I would go on and off the air at every end stroke of the paint, just so you don't get an accumulation of paint on the needle tip. So it's kind of like do as I say, not as I do here. Like I say, I do this day in, day out. I finish multiple models a month. So just take your time, work your way around. So what I tend to aim for is getting in all the nooks and crannies. Rather than trying to get a hosed, coat of paint down, I'm concentrating on getting all those vents, lights, grills everywhere. The coats will build up naturally as we go around the model, and I'll probably pour 3 to 4, even maybe 5 coats on sometimes of primer. Our primer covers really well. It's a microfiller primer as well, so it will lay down a nice thick coat of primer and infill any micro imperfections on the surface. So because of that, it will drive a little bit of texture or roughness to it, and you will need to sand it back before you go to your painting process. But white, again, tricky primer to paint because it's quite difficult to see. Thankfully, the resin on Alpha models is yellow, so it is quite easy to see where you're going. But I would say this is probably the second or third coat now. You see the coverage is starting to come. Like I say, getting all those nooks and crannies, lights, grills, vents, everywhere. And wheel arches as well. Easily forgotten wheel arches. There we go. So the iWatch 8 CR3, my ideal airbrush for primer and paint. It is definitely my favourite. And this is our last coat. So as you can see, we've got a nice white body now. We've got all those nooks and crannies filled, all the inner arches, the inner wings, the lights, the grills. And there's a lot on this thing. It is quite a busy car body. There is a lot to it. So pay attention and make sure you get the primer in all the right places. But there we go. We've got a really nice white primed body now, ready for some more preparation, which we are doing here, and then some paint. So it's dried now for about 6 hours. I would have painted that in the morning. It looks like it's about 6 PM on my watch there, so it's probably dry for about 6 hours. So we've got a 3000 grit Tamiya sponge this time, and we're just going to go around and lightly key the primer. When I say lightly key, we're not trying to sand off the primer or burn through. That's the worst thing we can do. I'm just very lightly going over the surface and removing any imperfections that may have landed in the primer when we were painting. So you might get dust, hair, spots of spitting paint, whatever. So what we want to do now is flat all this back so we've got a nice uniform surface ready for our paint. And again, sanding it will put micro imperfections in the paintwork, and again will help our paint adhere. I don't think it's as important at this stage, but I know it definitely is for primer. But again, full-size body shops do it, so I'm going to do it too. So inevitably, painting things, you are going to get dust and debris land in the paint. So again, another important stage, preparation again. Take your time, just work your way around the body. On cars like this or multiple angles, just be careful of any raised areas or corners, because it is really easy to burn through the primer. Once we're done, we give it a dust over with our toothbrush again, and then when we're in the booth, we give it a go over with the anti-static brush as well. So this colour I saw many moons ago on a real-life GT3 RS and thought, wow, what an epic colour that is. When I did the white one, I want to do the white one as a throwback to the 70s RS, the original Porsche RS. White and green, but this one I had earmarked for this colour all along, and recently there's been a few modelers that have done it in this colour, ironically, as well, and Matt Armstrong as well. Before the YouTuber Matt Armstrong, he's literally just done a Porsche GT3 RS in this colour as well. So wanted to do it, and I thought, you know what, here's the time, and this colour is absolutely phenomenal. This build at the end looks amazing, and I'm so glad that I waited to use this colour. Is it everyone's cup of tea? No. Would I own this car in real life in this colour? I don't know. It's definitely out there, isn't it? It's definitely a bit of a brash, bold colour. But for me, it just looks absolutely stunning. These GT3 RSs are very bespoke cars. Again, if you watch Mark McCann, I think it is, on YouTube, he was going through the hoops and jumps you have to go through to buy one of these cars, which is, yeah, a lot. It's absolutely ridiculous. And they are a £200,000 car at the end of the day. So would I want my car in this colour? As a middle-aged man, I don't think I would. If I was a bit younger, maybe. I'd probably go for a bit more of a conservative colour. But on my model, this is definitely the colour I want. So again, nice light thin coats. Just building it up nice and slow. Obviously, I've sped the footage up again. We are going on and off the paint with each pass now as well, because we don't want any spitting paint on the body. And again, we're paying attention to all those nooks and crannies and all those little recesses. But we're not hosing the paint on. There's no need to hose the paint on at all. Very light thin coats. Because of the nature of pro scale paints, they cover so well. you can see how well a cover we're getting just from one light pass over the white primer. So it does show you how well our paint cover. So there's coat 1. Probably going to put 7 to 8 coats on this, just very light coats, building it up. On white primer, it does take a few more coats to build up, but you need that white primer to get the colour to show through its full effect. So there's the first coat down. I would say here we're about 4 or 5 coats in. As you can see, we're going from left and right passes to up and down as well. And again, paying attention to all those nooks and crannies as well. So going up and down, left and right, make sure we're getting all the different angles and recesses, panel lines, panel gaps, vents, and what have you. So again, an important step. And again, this is sped up footage. I don't paint this quick. It just allows the paint to get in everywhere, because there's nothing worse. You kind of get a bit blind when you're doing this to seeing what the coverage is like. And you can come back 10 minutes later and think, oh, that bit's not quite covered. So I'm a bit OCD on the painting, which is why I apply so many light coats of paint. In my eyes, you're better applying 7 to 8 light coats of paint than 3 to 4 heavy coats. You just get better coverage overall. And as always, I think my paint jobs speak for themselves. So yeah. So there we go. This is the final coat now. As you can see, that colour looking absolutely beautiful. So I know we've got a lot of recesses and nooks and crannies covered now. So this is just a final coat over the entire body. And it's looking good. It's looking really good. Once we get some decals on this and get this 2K'd, it looks amazing. Obviously, I already know what this looks like. I've already finished this. And it does look absolutely phenomenal. So there we go. Let's say that was about 7 coats of paint, 8 at the most. Leaving a 5-minute gap in between each coat to let it flash off. And as you can see, the coverage of that paint, absolutely stunning. Now, wheels. A couple of choices of wheels and a wobbly camera. So I've chose these ones this time. Now, there was quite a lot of wispy flash on the inside of the wheels, and the best way to deal with this is to get one of these thin cotton bud sticks and just run it round the inner edge. I'll get my optivisor on there because I'm having trouble seeing. That way the roughness of the cotton snags any flash in there and literally rubs it off. So it takes about 10 minutes just to go round. Now, I did prime these and then come back and resand them because I did notice some seam lines on the inside. I haven't shown the footage, but this is literally, I think this is the second time priming. I literally went around with a small file inside and just smoothed them off. This is where off models let themselves down sometimes. The wheels can have quite poor fit and finish on the inside of them. So yeah, I primed them originally and then I dunk them in Mr. Hobby leveling thinner. In fact, I think this might be the first time, because I think the second time I painted them in GX2 gloss black. Yes, time will tell. So I'm a few builds behind on the editing at the minute. I've got the Camaro, the Revell Camaro, and the C1 Models Artillery Escort. I am like 3 builds behind, so sometimes you got to bear with me. I do forget details every now and then, and after sifting through 22 hours of footage on this build, you do quite often forget sometimes what order you've done things. But I'm pretty sure that was my first priming session on the wheels, and then I stripped them and went back with gloss black later on. Anyway, the body's been drying now. We've got the kit carbon decals, which are pre-cut for the kit. I did need to trim this roof on just a touch on the edges. They were just a little bit too long. I think with a little bit of work I might have been able to tuck the decal into the panel line, but it wasn't a risk I was worth taking, so I just got it all in place, got it set down roughly where it needed to be, hit it with some decal solutions to get it to conform to all the shape, and then with a cotton bud just gently worked at it to get around that awkward little scoopy dip in the roof. So a little bit of heat is also useful here too. These heat guns absolutely invaluable. Just make sure you don't melt where they're heating up. This will melt plastic and it will distort resin very easily, so it doesn't need a lot of heat at all. So a little bit of heat and some UMP normal decal solution we can just keep working on it for a bit until we get the decal to settle as we want. So it's getting conformed now nicely into shape, so we can just hit it with the hot air gun again. As you can see, I'm not leaving it one place for any amount of time. I'm literally wafting it around. And then just making sure the edges are all folded over. And then we use our brush just to conform all the edges down as well. Thankfully, the decals supplied by Alpha Models are Hobby Design decals. Well, I assume they are, because Alpha Models and Hobby Design are one and the same, I believe. And the decals normally lay down absolutely beautiful. These are no exception, laying down perfectly, reacting to the UMP decal solutions beautifully, conforming around all the shapes around the roof and into the panel lines and around the window trims. They lay down really, really well. This bonnet one's a bit of an unusual decal for the bonnet. I didn't include it on my other kit, but I thought, you know what, on this one, we're going to pop it on. And I did, because it does break up the paintwork quite a lot, and it does really suit the car as well. It's a little bit tricky to get in place, because you've got 3 points you've got to focus on. So you've got both of these outer edges and the centre edge, making sure it's lined up both at the back, the front, and around those vents as well. So just take your time here, make sure you get it in the right position before you commit to any decal solutions. Like I say, thankfully, they're very good, high quality decals, and they do set in place really, really well. So again, getting all the moisture out from behind them with a cotton bud, getting them set, well, where we want them exactly in place. Thankfully, they are cut to size pretty well. So we just leave a little bit of overhang into that window trim, and then with some UMP normal decal solution again, we'll start to set them in place. So a lot of people ask what brush is this. This is a Derwent water pen. This is by watercolour artists. It's normally filled with water, and they use it for blending the watercolours. Now, years ago, a tip I found, sent to me by a buddy of mine, from a Japanese modeler, was to put your decal solutions in these. So you can literally just squeeze it to get a little bit of decal solution out when you want. That's a brilliant idea, and it does work really well. The problem is these pens aren't airtight, so over time, the potency of the decal solution was wearing off. So I stopped doing it, but because I used them for so long as a decal brush, I got so used to the actual brush, and it is the perfect brush for decaling, that I still use them to this day. Now, you could top them up with decal solutions before you start and then empty them at the end. It's just quite often, it's just not worth doing. But it was a great idea. It's just a shame that they weren't watertight, so that they didn't go off. So there's the bonnet and the roof decal on. We've got the GT3 RS decal for the side now as well. So use online references to see where these sit properly, because they do go in a specific position. And then again, some UMP normal decal solution. They didn't really need anything else. They set in place really, really well. And then we'll flip it around to do the other side as well. And again, getting all the moisture out from behind, which is very important. And once we've got this set in place, and we're happy that it's settled down, we'll cut through the panel line on the door with a brand new scalpel blade and get it all set in place. So yeah, no problems with the decals whatsoever. And like I say, with a fresh scalpel blade, we just place it in the door panel line shut, cut it, and then hit it with the decal solutions pen again. So a little bit of a dabbing motion on it helps get the decal in the recess as well. Once that's done, the final real decal on the exterior that we need to put before clear coat is the GT3 badge for the back end. So again, once all the decals are dry, probably allowed a few hours for this. We'll come back with Tamiya's enamel panel line wash. We're just going to go with black on this one. In this case, just touching it to the panel, let the panel capillary reaction, the panel line wash through it. Like so, nice and simple to do. So just go around the entire model. So if your decals are set properly, you'll have no problems here whatsoever. But this is an important lesson to learn, to get those decals to sit in the recesses properly, because if not, the wash will get under them and it can lift them, which at this stage is an issue. At 2K, it's even more of an issue, because the 2K will get under there and lift it as well. So you need to make sure that A, your decals are properly recessed in all the panel lines, that they're properly set in place with decal solutions and heat, and that you give them adequate time to dry as well. If in doubt, leave 24 hours. That is my kind of mantra, my no regrets mantra. Just so you're playing it safe. But for me, normally next day is where I'll go for. I think I did leave this till next day. And I'll certainly leave it a day again, at least before 2K. So just take your time. So to remove the wash, we've got a cotton bud with some Sansador on, which is Winsor & Newton odorless mineral spirit. We wipe off the majority and then use a bit of kitchen paper just to remove the rest. And again, as always, go around the model, put it down for 5 minutes, come back and check you haven't missed anywhere, because if you have missed it, you will see it when looking at it again with a fresh pair of eyes, should we say. So nice and simple to do, and adds a nice bit of depth to the model as well. Now the wheels, like I said, we originally primed them with surface of 1500 black. I noticed some imperfections. Now sadly I didn't film me cleaning the wheels up, but I literally had a Tamiya, it's actually a Suitable Redo half moon file, but the Tamiya ones will do, in and amongst the spokes, just lightly sanding out, well, filing out the panel lines, the seam lines that were in there. It took like 5 minutes to do, and then I thought what I'll do is I'll come back and we'll prime it with GX2 gloss black, because it's got a little bit of filling property to it and adds a nice gloss sheen for our metallics as well. Meanwhile, a little bit more carboning, which I actually forgot to do, which is the wing mirrors. So there is a pre-cut kind of sheet of carbon for this. It's oddly cut. Yeah, trying to figure out which way it goes is a bit of a, right, does it go this way? Does it go that way? So just make sure you got it the right way before you commit. And again, a little bit of heat will help conform all this into shape. Again, don't go mad. Doesn't need a lot. Keep it moving. There we go. And then hit it with decal solutions to get it to conform into place. So the mirrors are in two halves. We've got the carbon section separate and the painted part that goes underneath. They will be glued in place before we 2K. But for now, having them separate is a big advantage. It helps immensely doing this. So we've got Porsche alloy wheel platin silver. So this is the wheel colour on this car. So it's like a dark silver colour. It's a hard colour to explain, but it is the wheel colour off this car, and it is a stunning colour. So with my HPC, no it's not, my CR3 iWater, 18 PSI again, we're going to put several light coats on, building it up, not forgetting to get inside the spokes as well. And this colour looks absolutely beautiful. Mega finely pigmented, as all metallics are, or all our pro scale metallics are, and the coverage absolutely superb. The perfect colour for this. So there we go, we're going to end the video there today. There's part 1 out of the way. We'll be back for part 2 very soon. Don't forget there is a Patreon. We can get early access on all these videos by up to 3 months. There's loads of other perks, including 10% off pro scale paints. There's a messenger chat group and a private group on Facebook as well. Thanks for watching today. I'll see you very soon. And as always, thank you all to my patrons for their continued support.